All right, we are live. This is William Ramsey. Welcome to William Ramsey Investigates. On today's show, it's episode 30 in my Bioweapon Blues series. I've titled this one, I've Seen the Future, Brother, It Is Murder. It's a line from Leonard Cohen's The Future. I recommend, if you haven't heard that song, listen to that. And if you have heard it, go listen to it again. But just a lot more information. I've got 31 lined up, so it just keeps coming. I'm going to re-show this one video of Trudeau who really was being harassed. Public screaming at him in public. He doesn't seem to be doing well with the Canadian public, and he shouldn't. So he's a party to all this death that's happening right now. It's still ongoing. Children are dying. You'll see that in these slides. So this is a disaster.
Getting that shot really was an amazing feeling. It hits you. Getting that shot really was an amazing feeling. It hits you.
To finger the interesting.
So this is Naomi Wolf talking about how the rats are jumping the ship, trying to blame each other. The audio isn't that great. There's some background noise.
I learned from the people in the law enforcement is that when there's going to be a criminal investigation, the first people to finger the other people get reduced sentences or immunity. And so I'm not a lawyer, but that certainly looks like what's happening now. There's a race to be first to throw the other people under the bus, but it is disgusting because if they had these qualms, and Rochelle Walensky, certainly had all this information, FDA had all this information, Pfizer had all this information. They should have told us in real time. This is not me.
Sorry, it's just the audio's too bad. But she's basically talking about how they're noticing people are trying to start blame shifting. And then this is an admission in the UK Sky News that there is this overpreponderance of U.S. excess deaths. So 1,000 more people are dying every week than expected. So the stats are pretty clear. Something's going on.
For them today, the data from the Office for National Statistics, this gives us a snapshot of the number of people we expect to die in any given period, people because of heart attacks and cancer and everything else, and how many people are actually dying. So these are excess deaths over and beyond what you would imagine for people for that period. So we had 14,530 people who died in England and Wales in the week to 23 December. Now that's the highest amount during any week of last year. And when we compare that to averages from previous years, it means nearly 2,500 more people died than expected. So that's for that 1 week alone. But over the past 6 months, the total number of excess deaths is over 30,000 in England and Wales. There have been exactly 8,000 deaths due to COVID in that period. And if we exclude those from the total, it means there's been an extra 22,040 deaths not caused by COVID in the past 6 months alone, equivalent to 848 a week. We don't know what is driving those excess deaths yet. It's too early.
I know what's going on.
But certainly, according to the Royal College of Emergency Medicine, they said last week that they suspected the NHS pressures has contributed to up to 500 excess deaths. That figure has been disputed by the government and NHS England, saying it's not because of NHS pressures, but certainly there are some fears that those extra pressures on the NHS is driving those excess deaths.
Three bits of evidence that I think.
This is Michael Leedon, who used to work for Pfizer.
I don't think anyone can rebut what I'm going to say, but it provides compelling evidence that this is not to do with public health, but control. If this was to do with public health, there's 3 groups you would not give these so-called vaccines to. Those who've been infected and recovered. There is no dispute, not even with governments and their advisors, that those people are now immune. And that they actually have better immunity.
Right, so they're giving shots to people who've already recovered. That's garbage science, terrible policy.
That you can get from a vaccine because their body has dealt with all of the components of the organism, the sticking in the spike bit, the coat, the capsid, the nuclear proteins, everything. You've got immune responses to all of it. So you shouldn't be injecting those people. You definitely shouldn't be injecting pregnant women. Why? Well, most people can remember the word thalidomide. About 60 years ago, it was discovered that this morning sickness tablet caused birth malformations in children. They would be born with short limbs or missing limbs. So ever since then, we realized that the developing fetus is not.
So you shouldn't be taking it while you're pregnant.
Whose long-term safety is not understood, for which no reproductive toxicology testing has been done. None. It's just literally haven't done it. So no idea. And yet, all around the world, certainly the British government, the Royal College of Obstetrics and Gynecology would appear on the BBC and say it's perfectly safe. I saw them do it on telly, and I remember saying to my wife.
And that's from the Vigilant Fox, Dr. Michael Yeadon, former Pfizer VP of Allergy and Respiratory Research.
Not a single previously healthy child acquired and died. So don't let with vaccine. One, they're not at risk from the virus. And two,
let's see what's going on here. No problem with the audio there. Let's try this again. That's the old one. Yeah, so you can tell there's something wrong when they're mandating this for people who've already are free. This video is from the WEF, and they're just ramping up the fear. Everything's coming to an end. It's a crisis. There's global warming. It's really almost comically funny. It's like written from a movie or something. Listen to this.
Scientifically, this is not a climate crisis. We are now facing something deeper. Mass extinction, air pollution, undermining ecosystem functions, really putting humanity's future at risk. This is a planetary crisis.
This is a safety crisis, but above all, it is also a justice crisis. Many areas in the world are uninhabitable. This uninhabitable zone is increasing. If we continue with our greenhouse gas emissions, then by 2070, as many as 3 billion people will live in uninhabitable zones.
Dear friends, scientists,
we're scientists. We're
just complete nonsense. Total propaganda from the WEF. Climate change is one of the most easily debunked garbage science mass mind control propaganda pieces ever invented in the history of humanity.
Is we know better than you, so they decided that they were going to gain the attention of the establishment. I was the establishment. They decided that they were going to focus it on me. They were making perfect sense, and we were the ones that were not getting it. There was one figure who was sort of like the grandfather or the father of the activist movement named Larry Kramer. And he wrote an article in the San Francisco Examiner, I think, the Sunday magazine section, which was just phenomenal. I still have a picture of it. It says, I call you murderer, an open letter to an incompetent idiot, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the director of NIAID. So I said, woo, that really got my attention.
A flu vaccine is an mRNA. Oh, the studies are running. They have completely recruited. We are waiting for cases as they accumulate.
This guy's a pure snake oil salesman. He's totally lying.
It means that people have been vaccinated, placebo, vaccine, and the disease, some of them will get disease. And then we are waiting to unblind the data to see what is coming. I think we're coming this year, in 2023.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. I mean, you can't guarantee a timeline depending on the clinical trial.
No, because
your best guess, what would you think?
I think by the first half of the year, maybe.
First half of the year?
Yeah, June, July.
Wow. And so how far are we away from one vaccine that's both COVID and flu together?
First, we need to have a flu. And if we have a flu, already we started experiments to combine the two so that we don't lose time again. I think.
What's interesting I found out about Borla is that his doctorate was in some kind of animal husbandry. It wasn't even about like medicines for humans, which actually may be more apt as the CEO of Pfizer. But what I'm finding out is a lot of these guys are sketchy. The guy that Veritas stung recently, like, yeah, not impressive people.
More or less all together if it is successful.
Where are you on a flu vaccine?
To the world, sir. Mr. Borla, can I ask you?
This is the guys from Rebel News. They found Borla here. I just did a show about Palantir. You'll see the Palantir sign pop up in the background. And they're taking a lot of credit. It's a huge data mining, so they're getting a lot of information from everybody that the general public does not have access to.
Vaccine that doesn't work, your ineffective vaccine?
Yeah, you're a little bit around.
Are you not ashamed of what you've done in the last couple of years?
Do you have any apologies to the public, sir?
Are you proud of it? You've made millions on the back.
Essentially doesn't answer any questions. These are just pictures of people who've been injured. This is Molly Valdez, has severe neurological complications.
I'm currently dealing with
Involuntary facial spasms.
Can't open my left eye. Started having really bad pain in my eye, behind my eye. Can't open it. Everything sounds louder and like it's echoey. Oh my goodness, I can't open it.
It says Claire Bridges, 21, was fully vaccinated for COVID-19. Caught COVID anyway. Vaccine was supposed to prevent severe disease. However, Claire had both legs amputated, myocarditis, and kidney failure anyway. So that's just another tragic story. This is a little girl being forced to take the shot. Her life may be totally changed. She may be, unable to have kids. So they're crying. This is an angry mother whose son got hurt from the vaccine. I'll see if this will play.
First vaccine when he was just a couple months old, and he almost died, okay? He went into a fever of 106, and he almost fucking died. So since then, I never allowed him to go get a vaccine. He wanted to play sports so bad, so my mother snuck and took him to go get the fucking vaccine last year, okay? Right after he did that, keep in mind, he went to go get the vaccine so he can fucking play sports in school because it's mandated that you be vaccinated. Okay, so she went and took him to God to get it. Then he went for his sports physical the next month. They told him his heart rate was extremely too low. They don't understand why it was that low, and he had to go see a heart specialist. He went to the heart specialist, and I sat there. I looked at the doctor in his fucking eye, and I said, all of this is from that fucking shot. It's from that vaccine. I kept telling him not to get it, and I didn't want him to get it. And now that he got it, his fucking heart ain't working right. And the doctor said, oh, no, it's not that. And I said to my son, they just trying to downplay that shit because they don't fucking know, and they don't want people to be scared. I said, and he understood that, okay? Whew. So the whole purpose of him getting the whole vaccine was to fucking play sports, and he can't even play sports because his heart is fucked up from the shot, okay? So tell me I'm a conspiracy theorist when I'm fucking living it. Then this year, he think that, okay, so the specialist cleared him. His heart was still at a low rate, and he couldn't tell me why, but he cleared him from sports. Now, imagine if he would have fucking played. Anyway, so this year he decided he wants to play sports again. He went to the doctor just now to go and get his sports physical. Well, there's something wrong with his fucking heart again. It's extremely low. So you cleared him, but you didn't even clear him. Like, he wasn't even okay. So for a whole year, he's been sitting here with a heart problem, and they cleared him. Now they're saying, oh, he has to go see a specialist because for his age, his beating way too slow. And if he does try to play sports and exert himself, he can have a fucking heart attack. So you keep telling me all these people dropping dead for nothing. And then it's my son who's on Jeopardy. Don't fucking tell me this shit ain't real. Don't tell me it's just a conspiracy theory. The government is literally playing Tuskegee Airmen on us, and it's not fucking fun. And I don't even know what to do because they can't get that shit up.
A young Army.
Yeah, that's true. They're gaslighting everybody, so it's a tragedy. I've seen the future, brother. It is murder. And this is just another woman who got injured. 21-year-old Army National Guard Carolina Stancic suffered 2 heart attacks after getting the COVID vaccine. She opens up to Emerald Robinson about the medical issues she's now facing after receiving it.
National Guardsman is sharing her story after the COVID-19 vaccine changed her life forever. Carolina Stancic knew since she was in the 7th grade that she wanted to join the military. She joined the Army National Guard and went into intel with hopes of going into counterterrorism one day. Carolina knew the controversial COVID-19 vaccine would be required for basic training. So she got her first COVID shot in March of 2021 and her second one in April of 2021 as well. The first shot wasn't that big of a deal. She had a sore arm. Then after her second shot, she began to experience severe dizziness and numbness. By September, a doctor diagnosed her with severe asthma. Then in October, she went to the ER for a heart attack at the mere age of 21 years old. She had another heart attack in February of 2022. The basketball, soccer, and cross-country athlete went from being able to run 10 miles at a time to having trouble standing up. She's also experienced fractured ribs from coughing so hard. This whole time, Carolina says she hasn't ever gotten COVID, but she would rather have gotten COVID than have taken the vaccine. Carolina Stancic joins us.
It's not a vaccine, it's a bioweapon.
Now, Carolina, thank you so much for being here and sharing your story. There's so many people that are experiencing or having experiences that you have because they've been faced.
Here's another story. People are starting to tell these stories on the alternate media, which is good. This is Jason Whitlock. And the quote is, "My wife went down, took the shot. By the next day, her lymph nodes were swollen, tingling on her scalp, and eventually moved to her face. So we went to urgent care. A neurologist said, let's have you take the second shot and see how that goes." Ken Rutgers.
Clients and so some pressure. She wanted to continue to get credit without having to start over, take the shot. So she did some research and didn't really find much other than that it's safe and effective, and there was some pressure put on. And so she went down, took the shot, and by the next day, her lymph nodes were swollen. I mean, swollen. So this was instantaneous, within 24 to 48 hours, yeah. And burning and tingling on her scalp, and eventually moving into her face. Went to urgent care. They didn't know what to do. They did some testing on her, kind of ruled out MS, and a couple days later, was in the emergency room. Her tingling, shaking, progressive burning in her face. Doctors didn't know what to do. They sent her home. Saw some neurologists. And for those that are out there that were being ghosted and gaslit by doctors, mostly women, about 80 to 85% of the people with neurological injuries from this vaccine are women. And they've been diagnosed with mental wellness issues. They've been given Xanax because, oh, honey, it's the shot. You're anxious.
This is a devastating one. This is a girl, Sarah Blattner, 14, Israeli-American, has surgery, recovery going fine, takes first dose of Pfizer in June, immediate decline, is unable to walk. 5 months later, recorded this video, then died suddenly the next day, early morning. Doctors say possible heart attack at 14. This is a child who died. It's on the blood of all the politicians, Pfizer, the attorneys who aren't doing anything, the people you're paying for the Department of Justice, whoever it is in Israel. The onus is on all the leaders.
The vaccine?
All the ones who've done nothing and just sat still or gaslit people.
Literally, in a week, I started to lose strength in my legs, which literally a day after the surgery I was able to walk. So that it's not like I didn't have strength from the surgery, because day after the surgery I already walked and I was able to go home. So that has nothing to do with it. The week I started to lose strength, like I had to take more breaks. Like after like 5 steps, I had to take steps, which was unusual for me. And then all of a sudden, I just couldn't stand up. I literally couldn't stand up. 2 weeks after this surgery, I had to go back to the doctor. And then my parents were holding one and two, and then I was holding the walker. I tried to put my legs. My legs were on the floor, but I just couldn't. I just collapsed if they just let me go. So my dad had to roll me out of the place in a wheelchair. They literally had to ask for a wheelchair, which was a little bit scary because I couldn't be independent. I seriously had to have somebody help me move from the bed to the wheelchair. I literally had anxiety every time. We thought it's like something that will pass in the weekend, right? We didn't think it would last.
Right.
And so we got scared. My grandma got scared, of course. By the way, she's a nurse. She was a nurse, ICU nurse, so she knows stuff. So long story short, they did some tests. We still didn't know what I'm not walking, but I'm still not walking a day or two before we had our tickets to fly to Israel, because I haven't been there in 2 years. So since then, I went to him and he's like, yeah, I can help you.
So that's just one of many. There are thousands of kids dying now, so it's murder. Period. And these are guys who came out recently supporting Pfizer. Charlie Puth, Questlove, Michael Phelps, and Pink paid partnership with Pfizer. So they're promoting the death. I think Questlove is making his little thumb on his chin, I'm initiated sign. Probably makes perfect sense of freaking occultist promoting this crap. Disgusting people. Just totally repulsive monsters. So sick. She probably doesn't know. She's probably dumb. My guess. These guys don't look like the freaking brain trust. This is Paul Offit. He just okayed, I think, last week to have the bivalent booster. So he okayed this. He wrote something, a cautionary tale, January 11th, 2023. But if you want to have a comparison between Nazi concentration camp people facilitating the murders, I would say this guy's one of them, Paul A. Offit. That's my opinion. His name's on this list right here. It's from WikiLeaks. Every person on this list is compromised, either financial inducements or career promises, or simply colluding with others. It is not possible that all 17 on this committee vote yes to accepting a drug which has zero clinical trial efficacy. Criminal investigations now. Yeah, majority should happen. All the criminal investigations should be starting. The state AGs have to start right away. Call your state AG. Let's list their names. Haley Gans, Amanda Cohn, Mark Sawyer, Ofer Levy, Steve Pergam, Paul Offit, Stanley Perlman, Mike Nelson, Arthana Chatterjee, Bruce Geflin, Pamela McInnes, Randy Hawkins, Adam Berger, Cody Messner, Janetta Lee, David Kim, Melinda Wharton, Arthur L. Reingold, Henry Bernstein, James Hildreth, Eric Rubin, all those names. Remember these names. Remember those people who okayed the kill shot for the kids too last October too. Because now it's taking place. Has to be hundreds of thousands of people arrested. Hundreds and or thousands of people arrested. This is David Beckerman. following up on the same thing. As expected, it's getting comical at this point. Unanimous vote. Boosters are now the new primary doses. U.S. FDA is captured. This wasn't based on science. Of course not. It's 126, 5 days ago. The title of it is 178th Meeting of the Vaccines and Related Biological Products Advisory Committee. This is the FLCCC. I mentioned them really the first time. I'm on episode 30 now. But the first couple of shows, I mentioned them as a place to go to try to rid your body, get rid of this stuff. And you should go back and look at that if you took the shot. You want to get it out of your body ASAP. And I've mentioned before, but these kids who had heart problems, it's because for some reason, their body did not get rid of the spike protein as fast as some other people did. So the spike protein caused problems throughout their bodies, particularly their hearts. So you want to find ways to break that down. Enzymes, they're saying bromelain, which is in pineapple juice, nattokinase. But you can look at their research, FLCCC. The FLCCC offers some potentially protective interventions that are common sense, safe, and pragmatic. This is Peter Halligan. I mention him all the time. Excellent post by Hadley. The lunatics are in charge of the asylum. Health regulators are bureaucrats, not practitioners, with any track record of improving outcomes, and are all tied together by an unelected body that has zero accountability, the ICMRA, and of course the WHO, and then the BMGF. He writes here, there's more to stopping SARS-CoV-2 jabs and perpetrators. Who's going to clean up the regulatory mess? And Andrew Bridgen, who I've mentioned, the MP who got suspended by the Conservative Party, they did a little fifth-generation info war on him and said he was an anti-Semite for saying that this is another Holocaust. Total joke. But they play along. Then what happens is they make up this lie. That happens in the United States too. And then their cartel cabal of evil people then promote the lie to the media. So that's how it goes. It's like an evil seed of a lie, and it's a form of information warfare. So they do. The left does it here all the time. Sorry, leftists. The right is too honest. I mean, I don't know what's going on. They don't play those same games. This is Bridgen. He says, if anyone asks why I've chosen to fight this fight, here's one of the reasons. So he gets an email. He says, hi, Andrew. I'm an advanced pediatric nurse working at hospital emergency department. To keep it short and sweet, thank you, thank you, thank you. Words cannot express what you are doing by exposing the truth. I and many other colleagues are behind you, currently just scared to speak out in fear of losing our jobs, nursing registration, etc. We are on the breadline already. We encourage you to continue the work that you're doing. It's absolutely amazing, and it's appreciated by many more than you will ever know. And he writes here, something's been going on seriously wrong in our country for several years, and it has to stop. He's right. And I think I played that video last time or the one time before about him making a statement. So you can watch that video. You can go back and watch episode 28 or 29. Somebody is accusing Andrew Bridgen, MP, of anti-Semitism for warning the public about the mortifying and horrific effects of the vaccine. The very best that you can do, gentlemen, and that's Hancock and Rishi Sunak. They're probably getting talking orders to do this. They don't have a choice. This is Dr. Ahmad Malik, January 12th, 2023. All of these, I'm not going to mention the dates, but they're all between early January to mid, like January 20th. Most of these slides. I've had one mRNA shot. I was not properly consented because I wasn't told that, 1, that it was experimental. The phase 3 trial ran to 2023. 2, details of my absolute risk reduction. 3, any side effects and complications. 4, other alternative therapies. 5, I was under extreme psychological pressure. Yeah, probably. And you did not have informed consent. And still a doctor, too. So that's very telling how much psychological pressure there was. And that was one of the important components. I mean, it's very sinister. It's very evil. It's part of the warfare. Your own government was at war against you. They all got turned. U.S. for sure. I think the whole United States government's captured. I'm not joking. You can't put this genie back in the bottle. It's a meme. Bell's palsy, AIDS, vax, death, myocarditis, Guillain-Barré. V-AIDS is actually happening now. So these people, if you get cumulative shots over and over, then you have less and less white blood cells. So then you can't fight off other things. So it's like that's the whole bioweapon aspect of this. I haven't changed my position from the first Bioweapon Blues show I did in September. It's still true. It's a bioweapon. It affects. It's not. I think they got caught, but they just wanted people to die by other things. And I think just like deductive logic. If you look at all the facts, they've probably been doing it before. These other shots have not. They're tainted. They've been tainted for decades. Probably is my guess. Peter Halligan again, particle sizes 23 times that allowed, mostly cholesterol crystals, antimony adjuvants, amongst others, as well as already known toxicity of lipid nanoparticles and spike proteins found in, quote, vaccines, unquote. So this is a German study, U.S. mortality, highly alarming analysis of vaccine ingredients by German industrial engineer. He's analyzed samples of COVID-19 vaccine batches that cover over 1 million doses. And what did he find? All this extra stuff. He found alarming results. 1, particle size was up to 23 times higher than the allowed threshold. Maximum size allowed was 220 nanometers, and then there's 2,000 and 5,000 nanometers in there. That means the particle was up to 23 times larger than what was normally allowed in fluid that's approved for injection. This can lead to microsis, fibrosis, and thrombosis of blood vessels. That means the capillary vessel can clog, which would explain the side effects that have been observed so widely. Mr. Reisner also found highly concerning ingredients in the injections. He found adjuvants that were not listed by the manufacturer, including the highly toxic substance antimony. Nice. This is Joseph Lodopo. He's the Florida Surgeon General. What better time than a Friday afternoon for CDC Gov and US FDA to let Americans know that the mRNA shots they've been pushing may be causing strokes. Don't worry, we'll make sure the word gets out, just like we've been doing for months. So they dropped it on a Friday night. Don, they should just close it down. CDC, Walensky should be arrested immediately. Stop the shots, arrest, get these people under oath, give their testimony. Has to happen. Unbelievable. That Americans tolerate this too is embarrassing. CDC, FDA identify preliminary COVID-19 vaccine safety signal for persons aged 65 years and older. So there's a safety signal that's popped up. That was January 13th. So finally, probably 2 years too late, losers. But no change in vaccination practice is recommended. There's a safety signal, but we're not stopping. We're not stopping the trains to Auschwitz. Unbelievable. JH writes, the jabs were not rushed. They are government DARPA bioweapons, developed long before they hit the COVID PSYOP start button. Most won't admit how evil and sociopathic the people they trust really are. That's very true. This guy's right. They say they never do that. Yes, they would. And your gullibility is dangerous. He's right. I think he's right. This is Kim Iverson talking to Sasha Ladipova. Shocking FOIA docs reveal COVID pandemic was a DOD operation. The vaccine was released as part of a, quote, countermeasures, unquote. It's very strange. Like, I have questions about this because if this is the truth, then what's this kind of overlap of Operation Warp Speed and Pfizer? And what's the structure of the rollout? Like, is Pfizer making it? Where's it produced? Where are these shots coming from? How are they so efficiently distributed? And that was one of the questions, one of my early shows is, how did they get 1 billion or billions of doses out to the world so fast? Because of manufacturing. I don't think the manufacturing capacity, there had to have been some type of huge manufacturing capacity readily available to create that many doses. So there's still more questions, or questions that I would like answered. This is Norman Fenton. The Lancet has become a laughingstock. All these medical journals have been compromised, like credible ones. New England Journal of Medicine. This is Joel. He says, incredibly, there are still normies out there who laugh when you tell them the level of censorship that is going on and the depths of corruption to which previously respectable institutions have sunk. So inevitably, they won't read this so as not to challenge their ignorant bliss. Remind to laugh at the appropriate time, though. Thanks. The Lancet, criticism of Pfizer not allowed. This is Peter McCullough. Criminal charges. Top U.S. cardiologist calls for the Bill Gates Foundation, World Economic Forum, World Health Organization, U.S. government, pharmaceutical suppliers, and others to be charged with illegal advertising, fraud, and mass negligent homicide. Yeah, it's part of the government. It's your government. It's the Biden administration. Don't look away. The Biden administration is part of this. Aaron King, this can't be real life. We're killing you on purpose, but trust us, take it. The CDC identifies possible safety issue with Pfizer's updated COVID-19 vaccine, but they still want you to take it. I just mentioned that. Rachel Murphy, here's one of the FOIA documents. It's a $2 billion contract awarded to Pfizer from U.S. military procurement in July of 2020. Nothing to see here, folks. Vaccines, and you wonder why they don't care about, died suddenly, Fauci lied. So I guess that's it. I guess the U.S. military paid Pfizer to create it, and then they helped distribute it. I guess something like that. This is a video. I don't want to show the whole video, but this guy walks into a place in Scotland and starts screaming at people. Rightly. So listen to this powerful statement made to police officers. Quote, someone here has to do the right thing because children are dying, unquote. He's right. And this is just a whole list. There's just so many problems. It's just a list of like nightmares problems. This is Texas Lindsay. This is the most shocking testimony I've seen since the pandemic began. When will the CDC investigate this? Just the shocking rise of miscarriages. So, like I've said before, you're seeing a death rate go up and a birth rate go down. It's actually going down. They're not peaking. So if you look at the graphs up to probably today, the death rates are increasing and the birth rates are going down. They're not going back up yet. They may, God knows only what will happen. I don't know. And if you want to just see, one of the places you can see the jab injuries is on Instagram, Jab Injuries USA. 55,000 followers. Hasn't been censored yet, but there's so many injured globally. You can actually go to another one. I think it's Global Jab Injuries. React 19. Died suddenly somewhere. I got to go follow up on that. I don't know if they've rehosted or something. Shell writes here, I have 3 sons serving in the military. One of them had to take the Pfizer booster to get back into the States, is now wearing a heart monitor and testing because of chest pains. We don't want our children to go through this. Continue speaking out. Upset vaccine injured mom. This is SB the NP, another example of Pfizer heart. I was 100% healthy. Call me rare, call me coincidence, but we know what happened. No research, no help. 2 years of denial and suffering. Hashtag CDC, hashtag FDA, hashtag Pfizer. So he's an atrial fibrillation, it looks like. Steve Kirsch, somebody I followed a lot. I recommend you follow him. Just got this note from a reader. Quote, I'm working in the hospital today. There are 12 COVID patients all jabbed, 2 on vents, and 8 flu RSV patients and 4 on vents. They are all jabbed at least 3 times in older individuals. They are immunocompromised from these jabs. It's real. Alex Berenson. So CDC Gov finds mRNA boosters can cause strokes 130 in 3 weeks, but won't release a rate ratio or the underlying data set. Last month, US FDA reported on embolisms plus myocarditis young men. These are not separate events. They're all evidence of cardiovascular toxicity. Right, so they had these releases, but they didn't stop the jabs. Criminal acts. Dr. Rand, the spike protein's impact, quote, vaccination may cause our overall immune system to fail to fight against such bad things, unquote. Shigetoshi Sano, MD, PhD, professor and chair, Kochi University School of Medicine. Yeah, stop the shots. Should have stopped last year. FDA advisor says young, healthy people shouldn't get latest COVID boosters. Yeah, that's smart. They don't boost you. They boost you to death. Myocarditis, once rare, now common. That's Itana Hecht from Israel. I spoke with Dr. Thomas Levy, a cardiologist working with the U.S. Freedom Flyers about cardiac issues and aviation safety. This is Jessica Rose, contamination issues in COVID-19 injectable products. This is weird. I thought to jot down some notes. So kind of mentioned that earlier in this one. They're contaminated. 23 times the size of allowable particulates in there. It's just it's total snake oil. Every time I just get more and more information, it just becomes more and more obvious. Like they're just lying about everything. They're lying about everything. Even your politicians. Biden's out there. Go get your shots with his wicked witch wife, Jill. Monsters. Steve Kirsch, another young person, dies suddenly. This has never happened in history at this rate. I wonder what the cause is. Why isn't the CDC investigating? Former Alabama star running back Ahmad Galloway dies suddenly at 42. Steve Crozier, normalizing childhood heart attacks, a new ad from the British Heart Association. So they're going to normalize all this stuff, con you again. Continue. Your own government is going to continue to propagandize, gaslight you to your death. Let that sink in. You're paying taxes to a parasitic government that is going to try to get you to take a bioweapon kill shot to kill you and your family and your kids. It's another one. Wait till everyone finds out that hospitals nationwide murdered people simply to collect COVID subsidies at $48,000 per death, using the protocol of ventilator with remdesivir, which is a poisonous pharmaceutical drug. Yeah. They don't want you to find out that. So they made money. They make money off the shots. They're incentivized to give you a shot. Oh, we're just going to give you a COVID shot. You know why? Because I'm going to make $50. So I give 10 of these a day. I make $500 a day. Haha. Perverse incentives. Go look at the COVID task force under Biden. They love you to die. There's like lists of these people in these groups that are all Nazi concentration camp manned, type people, whatever, guards or something, facilitating the mass murder. Eric Spracklin, sickening. Biden wants to inoculate as many people as possible. Tells you everything. Project Veritas. Nashville, Angela. I've seen reports of bodies being examined and having higher body temperatures than what's usually seen after death. Are people in comas being declared dead when they're actually still alive? This woman was declared dead and was transported to funeral home cremation. She's alive. Wow. Robin Minotti, the real purpose of mass mRNA injections was not to save lives, but to normalize a new pharma market of mRNA gene modifications, because the patents of normal medicines are all expiring and pharma profits nosediving. They're going to continue to nosedive because nobody's going to trust anything you put out. Wisely. Most people want to live. Pfizer CEO's Israel visit canceled because he's not fully vaccinated. That's from March 2021. He didn't want to cut in line. How noble. This is Asim Malhotra. Breaking. World eminent cardiologist Professor Abdullah Al-Abdul Ghadir calls for suspension of mRNA jab because of cardiac harm concerns. President of the International Congress for Advanced Cardiac Sciences. This is huge. Peter Halligan again. Here's one to get you at it files. Lobbyists draft the content of bills. Congress staffers proofread and Congress and put as rubber stamp content. Yeah, that's really reassuring too. Everything's broken. It's terrible. Dr. Asim Malhotra, I repeat, post-COVID vaccine myocarditis is 28 times more common than post-COVID myocarditis. The fact that most people don't know this is because Big Pharma's successful PR machinery capture of institutions, medical journals, and media to deflect away from the ugly truth. This is jab injuries, Australia. Just another person hurt or injured. And this is anecdotals. I interviewed her. It's Sharp. This is Sharp. I can't remember her first name. But go check out anecdotals. I think it's free on YouTube. But people are suffering. My depression is so bad lately. I don't know how to manage it because I'm depressed from my health issues, and the doctors cannot figure out what it is or how to treat it. Medicine for depression will not fix this. I can't function normally and have no quality of life. All my life consists of is being in pain. I'm struggling to find a way to have any quality of life. I don't know what the point is to existing in this life in this way. I can't work a normal job. I haven't been able to play guitar for the past 4 or 5 months, other than like 2 or 3 nights. I can't eat the foods I like or smoke weed to relax because it just ramps up my nerve pain. I have no friends to hang out with in person. Why am I here? This is Robert Reich. Moderna is planning to charge $130 for its COVID vaccine, but the vaccine only costs $285 to make. Meanwhile, over the last 2 years, the company made over $19 billion in profits off the vaccine. Folks, this is what corporate greed looks like. And then Mindy Robinson writes, no, this is what a government and media-assisted mass medical genocide looks like. Imagine seeing nothing but people dropping dead for no reason because of this vax, and the thing you're maddest about is how much it's going to cost you. Well said. Robert Reich is a piece of crap. This is a guy who dropped dead from one shot. March 21, Ben Goodman. I think it was actually his death transcript says mitral valve regurgitation complicating atrial septal defect. Dilated cardiomyopathy from febrile reaction following COVID-19 vaccination. So they actually blamed it on the shot. It's not a vaccine. They have to go back and rewrite all that history and replace vaccine with bioweapon. It's so bad. Narrative collapse is a vigilant fox. Narrative collapsing, unexplained deaths, a shift in the story is coming soon. Edward Dowd, quote, one of my sources in the government told me that the White House is potentially preparing to declare an epidemic of sudden death and that they might blame long COVID, unquote. Well, they're trying to blame something else. Certainly didn't happen on my watch that a lot of kids died. I can just hear Biden blubber that out. Here, Joe, read this. There's probably people in this administration who want to, in the alternative, just want to blame Joe. Hey, Joe didn't do anything. I can hear it now. Mr. Clown World, Dr. Fauci went to grade school in the 1940s and none of these vaccines existed yet. What an evil dude. Yeah, he's a monster. He's lying so often. Alex Berenson, we effed around with preclinical development, clinical trial design, regulatory independence, phased rollout, rational cost-benefit analysis for people at low risk, collecting clean long-term safety data. We effed around and around and around. Now we're finding out. Natural immunity, FTW. Wouldn't it be amazing if there was something capable of totally degrading spike protein? There is. Bromelain combined with NAC was shown to completely degrade spike. No wonder the FDA tried to ban NAC in 2020. Tell your vaxxed friends. So there you go. Bromelain. You can actually get bromelain, like I said, from, what is it? Anyway, you can get bromelain. You can actually get pills of it. And NAC, I think, is a precursor to glutathione, which is an anti-inflammatory. So you can actually get bromelain from pineapples. So you can get it from a pill or a pineapple. But I would, if I was took the shot, I'd be taking that. You want to get the spike protein out of your body immediately. Scott Adams is angry. He threatens to sue cartoonists, pointing out he was pro-vax. So Scott Adams is turned, I guess. Alex Berenson, a friendly reminder that China will not allow mRNA's COVID jabs for its citizens under any circumstances. A year ago, when I wrote this stack, Beijing was kind of pretending they were close to approval. Nope. Even that fig leaf is gone. Why is that? America got that kill shot, but China didn't. FLCCC Alliance. This case would set a precedent for Wisconsin and the country. Ivermectin case to be heard by the Wisconsin Supreme Court today. A potential precedent-setting case may allow hospitalized patients to request and consent to specific medical treatments, even over the objection of doctors and hospitals. I had to go online to get my prescription to ivermectin. My local pharmacy wouldn't do it. They gave some bogus excuse. Errol Weber, if you still need a booster after being fully vaxxed and still need to get tested after being fully vaxxed and still need to wear a mask after being fully vaxxed and still get hospitalized after being fully vaxxed, it's probably time that you admit that you've been conned. James Santolo, the FAA just telegraphed the fact that a substantial number of airline pilots have had serious heart damage from the COVID vaccine by widening the ECG parameters for pilots. That's from Steve Kirsch. That's reassuring. The American Centers for Disease Control pledged $1 million for the development of a public health tool to predict the virality of vaccine misinformation narratives. All you have to do, you don't have to go very far. You can just apply that money to yourself and all the lies you've told. Monsters. And then there's another thing that's happening, which is what they're calling hashtag Blotgate. There are these fake blots in one of these studies. And it's new cheese on Blotgate, the emerging scandal that keeps on giving. The EMA and FDA reviews of the Pfizer BNT molecular biology assays were not independent reviews at all. Pfizer wrote their documents. So Pfizer wrote the documents for the regulatory agencies. Unbelievable. This is Dr. Rohan Kapoor. Evidence senior government ministers knew about vaccine harms in June and September 2021. In June 2021, evidence was provided to Nadeem Zawahi, vaccine minister at his constituency office in Stratford upon Avon, acknowledged by him. So a lot of these guys in England knew that people were getting hurt, causing heart attacks. So they're not going to be able to kind of wriggle out of this as long as if the public finds out how bad it is. It's a long thread. His name is Rohan Kapoor, ROHENKAPUR. You can find him on social media. Rebel Cat, RFK Jr., your chance of dying of a heart attack from that vaccine, according to Pfizer's own studies, is 500% greater than if you're unvaccinated. So they knew they were going to kill a lot of people, and they did it anyway. So their documents are going to condemn them. Criminal acts. These are not civil acts. People say that they can, you cannot contract yourself out of criminal activity. You can't always contract yourself out of civil liability too if you engage in fraud or what they've been doing. The contracts saying that they can't be sued are all garbage. They're in deep trouble. Pfizer's stock has gone down like 15% today. If anybody's smart, if you had a ton of money, I would short Pfizer immediately. I think that would be an easy. I don't give financial advice, but I think their value in time is going to be zero. It's just a matter of time for the public to find out all the stuff that they've been doing. You literally could write, I was going to say you could write a book on the criminality Pfizer has been doing, but the good news is Naomi Wolf did just that. So she just put out a book of her squad, I think at Clout. She had a lot of lawyers looking through it. They put that book out, and I think it went to the top 10 on Amazon. So go check that out. I haven't read it yet. This is Igor Chudov, Chudov, how Facebook removed true content for Pfizer and the White House. They all made a lot of money while making us sicker. Yeah. If you're on Facebook, man, you're embarrassing. Sad. Facebook is evil. Mark Zuckerberg is evil. I need to get off of Instagram. So both Zuckerberg and Fauci were fully aware of the risks of unproven and rushed vaccines, and yet both disregarded these risks and suppressed truthful discussion of them. This cannot be explained away as a well-intentioned mistake caused by ignorance. Beware of Facebook fact-checkers in the White House asking for a pandemic amnesty and pretending that they did not know. They did. We have receipts. Yeah, they did. Absolute monsters. Truth Justice murder case. Bill Gates and Adar Poonawalla, the accused. are habitual offenders of earning profits by selling vaccines with death-causing side effects, and therefore they are in the category of mass murderers. The minimum punishment for such offenses is the death penalty. India. Just like co-conspirator Francis Collins, Fauci remains employed. Collins by the White House and Fauci by NIAID. Multi-millionaire Fauci likely gets $1 million a month security detail to protect him from death threats from the relatives and friends of the thousands he has killed. ? Dr. Anthony Fauci remains on government payroll and receives taxpayer-funded security detail despite retiring at the end of 2022. Federal bureaucrat still gets taxpayer-funded salary, benefits, and security. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. If he's such a hero like people said he was, he shouldn't need any security. He just saved 20 million, 300 million lives. It's the exact opposite. The intent to harm, I think, is easily provable at this point. They could have just filled these things up with saline. They intentionally wanted to hurt people. It's so sick. Fauci's newfound status was first reported by Dr. Marty Makary at Johns Hopkins University. Makary writes, citing sources at the NIH, one source close to the matter told me the White House made the decision to keep Dr. Fauci employed by the government in order to keep his security detail of U.S. Marshals. There's the White House again. The White House, the current administration, is in on it. Period. The former director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, NIAID, has received death threats, including one that was believed to be an intercepted plot to harm him. I bet there's going to be hundreds. He's involved in it. This is kind of a meme. Trudeau demands truckers get vaccinated like he did so they don't catch COVID like he did. Truth, justice. Breaking news. International criminal investigation calls on every public citizen to recommend indictments for Bill Gates, Anthony Fauci, Pfizer, BlackRock, Tedros, and Christian Drosten for pushing everyone to receive the ineffective, highly dangerous, lethal experimental vaccines. I would call them shots. Don't call them vaccines. They don't work. A vaccine prevents you from getting sick. It doesn't happen. This is Jamie Lee Curtis supporting the shots. Questlove. I've joined up with Pfizer Inc. to encourage y'all to get smarter with me and no planned go when it comes to COVID-19. Wow. These people sold out. Dr. Harriet Hall, fierce critic of anti-vaxxers and alternative medicine, has died while sleeping. First, we mourn and wish her haste to heaven. We never hate, while I strongly disagree with her views. Paul Doodley, Ron Johnson, that's Senator Ron Johnson, lays out the importance of exposure before accountability. This is why our mission of waking normies is so vital to achieving justice for crimes against humanity. It says the subtitle here is Senator Ron Johnson exposes the cabal orchestrating vaccine mania. Matt Orfale. Recent Twitter files from Alex Berenson show Pfizer board member Scott Gottlieb petitioning Twitter to remove this accurate tweet saying that kids have a practically zero chance of dying from COVID. Here is a thread on disinfo, misinfo, greatly exaggerating the risk of COVID to kids. So Scott Gottlieb had something removed that was true that led to the applicability of the kill shot to kids. So he's a child killer. He's assisting in the killing of children. Scott Gottlieb, and injuring. Some of those kids are going to be so injured that they wish they were dead. I hope people realize that. They're going to be so injured, they wish they were dead. So these guys are responsible for suicides, anesthesia, or whatever, people going to Switzerland and getting killed. So evil. These are the children of hell. They're the biggest monsters to walk the earth since the Nazis. They've earned it. All these people, Gates, Fauci, Gottlieb, Walensky, the mass media too is really involved in it. Zuckerberg, a lot of these heads at Google, Biden. 8/9/21, Fauci said, "We have lost more children from SARS-CoV-2 than we ever lost for influenza." That's a false. So there's a thread here. Kyle Lamb, did Anthony Fauci lie when he said more children have died from the virus than have ever died from the flu? Unless you think he's an incompetent boob that didn't learn a thing in 50 years of public health, then yes, I will demonstrate that here. This is 40 years of Dr. Death. He's just an administrator. He's never been a practitioner. Matt Orfalea, 9/20/21. Dr. Michael Osterholm, former Biden COVID advisor, made the same false claim as Fauci, but even more exaggerated. Quote, "The fact of the matter is that this is killing kids right now at a rate much, much, much higher than our worst severe influenza year." So they're lying. They have proof of lies. I mean, these guys are in direct contradiction to a Stanford statistical epidemiologist, Ioannidis, who said that the risk from COVID was even worse. I mean, was even less than like the standard flu. So whose science is right? These guys are liars. It's another unbelievable truth. Leanna Wen admits COVID deaths and hospitalizations have been overcounted. People were saying that a long time. Is Wen now attempting, like Dr. Paul Offit, FDA vaccine advisor, to avoid liability for the devastating COVID mess and lunacy that she and he helped create? Do they see what's coming and are running to the hills? Not so fast, Leanna, not so fast. Assisted suicide plans for children unveiled at Toronto's Sick Kids Hospital. In a prestigious medical journal, doctors from Toronto's Hospital for Sick Children have laid out policies and procedures for administering medically assisted death to children, including scenarios where the parents would not be informed until after the child dies. Wow. So I would hate to be in Canada right now. It may be even worse than the US. This is a guy who does consulting, Pierre Corey. So if you feel sick, if you haven't felt better since you got the shot, you know anybody who's sick from the shot, you can call them LCC. They can probably give you other doctors locally. Kenyoka, Substack.com, thread, Operation Lockstep. Robert Kennedy Jr. explains how the CIA used the COVID-19 response to vastly increase top-down government authoritarianism and totalitarianism. Quote, "We're in a huge Milgram experiment here. We got Anthony Fauci in his white lab coat." Unquote. Very urgent. After 4 shots, COVID jabs sharply reduced immune function in mice. Chinese researchers reported the results in a peer-reviewed paper published last month. The finding has gotten no attention. It needs attention. Stu Peters. Wait, what? Quote, "The last time we were here in Davos, it was January 2020, and you were talking about how you were working on a vaccine for COVID." Oh, I didn't know COVID was around. Didn't happen until March. Andreas Welser. Professor Michelle Williams claims that the COVID vaccines protect individuals from transmission. WEF 2023. This should be labeled as misinformation. Yes, it's true. They're still lying. Still lying. GWMD, another conspiracy theory being ahead of the curve. Birx and Fauci reject Fox News promoted theory that coronavirus deaths are inflated. Now, Washington Post, we are overcounting COVID deaths and hospitalizations. That's a problem. That's by Leanna Wen. I just mentioned her name. Steve Kirsch, where's their champion? Is there any prominent authority who's pro-vax, who knows the data, and is willing to defend the government narrative on tape? Who is it? All the people we've asked to debate us on camera turn us down. So nobody's willing to defend these policies. Total insanity. Total insane psychosis formation, whacked out. It's all about ideology and politics. They should stop the shots immediately. Stu Peters, Brooke Jackson sued Pfizer for violation of the False Claims Act, but Pfizer cited a contract with the Department of Defense claiming testing the vaccine was never required. Wow, that's their comeback. It's not a vaccine. Etana Hecht, Peter McCullough versus the system, a battle for his career. We have a situation here where the American Board of Internal Medicine has completely lost all credibility as an independent, fair, balanced organization. Incredible. They're going after him. Just in, Japan plans to downgrade COVID-19 to flu status, and that Elon Musk supported that. So what is that? Yesterday? Sky News, cold snap could cause strokes and heart attacks. Doctors weren't sure. So yeah, it's bad. All right, I'm in an hour. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it. Have a good one.